One of the most frustrating stories that we see in the Bible is in the book of Numbers, chapter 13. And that is when Israel is right basically at the foot of the promised land of Canaan. And we see how we can look at the history of Israel and all the things that they've done. God sent the plagues to Egypt. God delivered them from Egypt. God parted the Red Sea to deliver them out of the hands of the Pharaoh and to wipe out the Pharaoh and his soldiers, and how he was always around them. He was feeding them, he was protecting them, he was giving them food when they were hungry, he was giving them water when they were thirsty. He was doing all these things for the nation of Israel, and yet each time they complained, they had disbelief. They cried out to Moses many times about how you delivered us from Egypt to let us die here. And each time God protected them, he gave them strength, he gave them hope. And each time they didn't believe in everything that they did, even though they saw everything that God has performed throughout their tenure of leaving Egypt finally to the land of Egypt, Canaan. And as we see, we get to this point where they're right outside of Canaan. They're ready to go in, and God has said, I'm going to deliver them into your hands. This will be your nation. This will be where I promised you that you will live for. And so Moses sends out 12 spies to go out and look at the land. And they were there, and they came back, and each one said that this land is great, it's flowing with milk and honey, it's a perfect land. And Caleb gets up and he says, let us go, we will now, God has given us this land, let us go and destroy this nation and take this land for us because God is with us. And then the other 10, they looked at it and said, no, we can't do this. We are small. They're like giants. Their cities are built with giant walls. We'll never do it. We can't do this. It's impossible. And Caleb and Joseph, they say, we can do this. God promised us. Look at what he did for us. With God, we can accomplish this. And still, the spies were like, no, we can't do it. We're not able to. We're not strong enough. We will all be killed. And as in the spies, the 10 spies told the people this, the people complained and they said, we can't do this. We're not going to do this. We're all going to die. And why did you do this, Moses? Why did you do this? Why did you bring us out here all to die? And again, they saw everything that God did, and God promised them that this was going to be their land. Yet they still didn't believe. They still said, we can't do it, even though they saw what God has performed for them. They saw him parting the Red Sea. They saw him wiping out the Egyptian army. They saw him feeding them food throughout their tenure. They saw everything that God has performed. They spoke to God. They saw him give them the 10 Commandments. They saw everything, yet they didn't believe still. They still had this distrust that they couldn't do anything. They couldn't do it. They weren't able to. And we look at that and go, how could they be like that? I mean, they saw all the things that God has performed. They saw him destroy armies. How could they be like that? They were right outside their land. God promised them that this would be their land, and yet they were too afraid to do it. And we look at that and say, I don't understand that. But if you're honest with yourself, it's the same way with us. We see things that God has performed in our lives, throughout our lives, that only God could have done. He saved us from death. He gave us all everything that we needed. He's always been there for us, but yet we're still afraid to take that leap of faith and to do the thing that we believe God has told us to do. We are afraid to take our promised land, and we need to be like we need to change our lives, and we need to be like Caleb, who said we should go up and take possession of the land, for we can certainly do it. We can do it. We can do it because God is with us. God is walking ahead of us. He is the flame that is lighting our path, and we have nothing to fear. We can rest assured that yes, there might be giants across that in the promised land that God has given us. There might be cities of walls that God has might be built, fortitude the cities. But if God has promised us a path, we know we can trust in Him, and we can do it because God is with us. He is leading our way, and we have nothing to fear. We don't have anything to fear. And I know it's hard, because in our minds we look at things that we feel that God is promised us, but yet we are afraid to take that leap of faith because there's so much that we wrestle with, that we look at in our minds and say, I don't know if we can do it, because we're not strong enough. But we don't have to be strong enough. We have a God that is forging our path, and He is leading us to our promised land. And if we trust in Him, if we just walk across that Jordan River and trust in Him, He will guide our path, and we can find our way, and we can conquer our promised land. So I pray that whatever you're looking at and you're afraid of, remember that yes, you're a small person. Yes, you can't do it on your own. And yes, it might be difficult, but if we believe in God and we believe that this is the promised land that He is wanting us to take hold of, and I don't know what that is, but if there's something that you feel you need to get to, that purpose, that you have a God that will protect you and will lead that way and will part that Red Sea for you. So I pray that you find that peace and take that worry off of your shoulders and just rely on God, and know that He's not going to leave you into the wilderness of pain and fear. He's going to be there with you, and with Him you can trust in Him, and He will guide your way. So I just pray that you find peace and you trust in God, and God bless you, and thank you.